The answer is the question. A good question is never answered. It's not a bolt to be tightened into place, but a seed to be planted and to bear more seed, toward the hope of greening the landscape of ideas. This video will present some useful tips to make your questioning more effective. The first and most important tip I have for you is to create a climate conducive to learning. Pose questions in a non-threatening way and receive answers in a supportive fashion. Never interrupt a student who is responding, unless they're straying from the focus or being disruptive in their answer. And finally, acknowledge students' responses with plenty of praise and merit. Mix it up. Nobody wants to hear the same question again and again. Effective questioning is questioning which uses a mixture of close-ended and open-ended question. Use probing questions. Once a response has been given to your question, continue the interaction by probing. Simply asking, "Can you explain that?" or "Carry on," or "Can you give me another example?" encourages students to provide more lengthy answers and access that higher order of thinking. Make sure that every question is related to the learning objectives, so that students can see they're meeting the requirements of the lesson. You can ensure differentiation by having a seating chart with students' names and current ability levels indicated clearly for you to see. What this allows you to do is ask proper questions that are just above students' current ability levels and to challenge them to stretch their mental ability. Plan challenging questions. Challenge students to explore the evidence for their existing knowledge, apply their existing knowledge to other situations, and bring them to the limits of their knowledge base. One way to really help develop students' critical thinking ability is by taking on the role of devil's advocate and challenging their answers with opposing views. Don't allow any easy answers to slide through. Make sure that they have to do cognitive work for every question that's posed. Try a no-hands approach. Explain that after you ask the question, you will wait 5 or 10 seconds, and then you will choose someone to answer. This increases engagement and is also more inclusive. Make sure you inform the students that it is acceptable to say, "I'm not sure," if they get stuck. Try to use less of the what, when, where, who, which questions, and more of why, how, suppose, justify, defend, elaborate. Move your students from lower order thinking up the chart to higher level thinking. Wait time. Silence after a question is good. It means that students are thinking. Allowing time for thinking after a question is posed is beneficial to students at every ability level. Giving the students 5 to 10 seconds to think about an answer and make connections on their own should be part of your classroom routine. 10 hands up is a method that ensures fuller classroom participation. Inform students that you want to see at least 10 hands up before you will ask anybody the answer. Not everyone enjoys answering questions in front of the entire class. For those pupils who are shy or find it difficult to engage in the questioning process, allow time to question them during a task. And as they become more confident in their private responses, gradually work them into public discussion. First with small groups, and then the whole class. When you do call on them for an answer, you already know that they will answer, and this will encourage them to participate in more discussion. Keep your questions simple. Avoid asking vague, ambiguous, and cluttered questions by planning your questions out beforehand. If you ask a question which involves sub-questions or packs in a lot of background information, students will be confused and will not know what they're supposed to answer. So remember, keep it simple. Don't baffle them with your language. If you need to ask a low-order question and then probe further, do it. This will help reduce disruptive behavior too. There are a few things to keep in mind when dealing with wrong answers. If a student is unable to answer a question, it may be because the question is unclear to them, and not because they do not know. Ask them, is the question clear to you? Would you like me to rephrase the question? Or what part of the question are you finding difficult? And then try again. You want to avoid asking, does everyone understand this? Because most students will be too embarrassed to admit they do not, and others, who believe they understand, may have misinterpreted what they have to do. Instead, ask concept check questions like, Sarah, can you explain the task to the rest of the class, please? Or, Billy, why are we doing this task? And finally, a piece of advice you can't forget. The purpose of a question is for learning to take place, not for testing to take place. Good luck, and cheers!